welcome to episode 3 of What Are You Playing with your host. That's me, Derek, and I have a couple of special guests. Well, one just left apparently, or at least turned off his camera. Two special guests this week. We have Dan. What's up, Dan?
Not much. How you doing, Derek?
I'm doing good. And then the other one. All right. Not everybody that listens to the show knows who this guy is and knows why I don't want this guy on my show. We have Susan on. Hey, Susan, how you doing? You can talk now.
I don't know.
You don't have to push a button. You just talk.
I don't know who that is.
Susan Sasan, how you doing?
Yes, I'm good. Thank you.
Good,
the best
good.
Game, but next gen, current gen, or what's it?
Oh, you're the best gamer.
Yeah. Let's look at platinums, dude. Yeah. What do you got? Returnal. Neo 2?
I don't play.
Did you get Returnal? Was that all you?
Yeah.
I don't play PlayStation 5. I only play on PC, bro. PC Master Race.
You avoid PlayStation because I have platinums on PC. That didn't make any sense.
It didn't, but I'm gonna let you say it. I'm gonna let you go ahead and say it. All right, guys, let's jump into the show. We're all busy adults, and we got lots to do, so let's just jump right in. The reason I brought these two guys on, first of all, they're really cool guys. I've known them for, I think, online for close to 10 years.
Yeah, it's been right around 10.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Sasan and I have been gay for each other for
way too long.
8 years.
Well, 9, because for 1 year I was spying on you secretly, being gay in private. You didn't know about me. It's like a health ninja thing, which is why he brought me on to the whole Ronin Japanese-centric podcast, because of it.
Exactly. I wanted somebody who's stealthy with their gayness. Just like, and actually that is going to be the first game we discuss, because I don't give a shit what anybody else says. It's the best game I played all year, and let's talk Rise of the Ronin. Dan, I want to start with you just because I'm not 100% sure. Have you played it at all?
No, so I didn't end up getting that game yet. Usually I'm a little lukewarm on what is it, Team Ninja games, the Neos and such like that. I'm not quite the professional gamer Sasan is, and maybe my tastes differ a little bit, but I'm a big Souls guy. I like that. Just those games never really clicked much for me. But what I've heard of Rise of the Ronin, it's a little bit of that, it's a little bit of this, so it sounds like a mix I'd definitely be interested in. So I do want to pick it up. I'm kind of excited to hear what you guys got to say about it. That's
what I was gonna say. Maybe Sasan and I will take this first part of the show. We'll discuss it, and hey, maybe it'll sell you and maybe a few other folks. By the way, that's the whole point of the show. In case you two haven't listened to my previous 2 episodes, it's obviously called "What Are You Playing?" because we're gonna discuss whatever the guests are playing, but also it's I like to bring different people on, and I'm hoping that somebody hasn't played the game, so when the other two discuss it, maybe it will convince them or convert them over. But don't worry, we will talk about a game I do believe you are playing, and that is later on we'll be talking Dragon's Dogma 2.
Yep.
All right, so let's jump into Rise of the Ronin. Sasan, basic question: is it good?
It's amazing.
Okay.
First of all, you have to understand, it's a hard game to recommend as just an open. I know Dan is a big collectathon open world guy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Assassin's Creed. I mean, those kind of games. Yep.
This is not good at that. It is that. It has a lot of that. A lot of checklists. A lot of collectors collect that. But that's not why you play the game. You play the game for the combat. And the combat, it's very strange. It's easier than most Team Ninja games, but it's also weirdly hard in a way that's different than how they ever made hard games in the past.
So try to explain it. Try to explain what you just said.
Okay. One thing there is, like, as opposed to Sekiro, there is a leveling up system in this game, which is good. You can grind out levels, learn upgrade your martial arts skills, which become more powerful as you invest in different points that you accrue through whatever consumables that you find or bosses that you beat. So, but So you got the basis of like an upgrade system, which I think you like because you like the Souls game. But
Yeah.
But here, the hard part is like there's a weird, especially in late game. There's some enemies in this game that have lightning quick closing in times on you that is even like way faster than anything Sekiro's ever done. And it's
Yeah.
very,
Okay.
very
Well,
but that's very common on the Team Ninja games. Like how you're supposed to know, you always have to know it's coming, rather than because no one can possibly react to some of the things that they throw at you.
sure.
Like in Sekiro, there's like a rhythm. There's a rhythm to the combat where it's like, you come to see a new boss and you get wiped in a second. Okay, fine. But after a while, it comes as such a timing rhythm. Sekiro is a rhythm game.
Yeah.
Once you click with it, it actually turns easy. Like I don't think Sekiro is hard anymore because I learned the rhythm of of what it was asking me to do. This one, I don't think there's a rhythm where you can actually learn the speed of what they're throwing at you. Because I can't explain. You just have to play it. But you can block, which you really couldn't do in Sekiro, and you can dodge. But it's very clumsy, I think. The game was programmed for you to parry everything.
Sure. So how does the parry system work in this one? Is it like Sekiro, or how do
So
you like
I like the way they have this set up where essentially, and I don't do this because I'm so used to playing like Wolong and the only good Neo game, the first one, where I don't block, I only parry. So I
Right.
never hold down block. But the reason I'm saying this is you actually can hold down block and it's L1, but your parry button is the triangle button. So if you're blocking and you fuck up the parry, excuse my language, if you screw up the parry, you're still blocking. So yeah, you'll take some damage, but it's not that bad. Plus, the parry button is actually an attack button. So you also will, if you miss the parry, you're still going to go into an attack, which is basically a counter.
I like that. I like that. That sounds pretty like it's not as
down to me the best game that Team Ninja has made when it comes to all aspects. So he's talking about combat. I think it's the best. And
so what is the combat
Wolong.
like? If it's not like Sekiro or something, is it more like a Platinum Games type combat, like a Bayonetta?
It's definitely at the speed of like your Neos and your Wolong. I would say it's closer to Wolong. I feel like, and the reason why I don't like Neo 2 as much, Neo 2 is so freaking fast. And a lot of times, maybe it's my build. A lot of times, I don't feel like I'm ever doing any damage. And then I look and I'm like, my stamina's all gone. And this guy's just going to wipe me. This is so freaking annoying. And when they wipe you, they wipe you.
Yeah, that's exactly my experience with Neo.
This game, in my opinion, is a little bit more forgiving. But the other thing is that I think is good because I definitely think they were trying to bring everybody in. I think they're trying to put this in the middle and go, okay, we know what Wolong and Neo are, right? These are for hardcore Souls gamers. Rise of the Ronin has the ability to be that, but they clearly wanted to make it more accessible for everybody. So they made some of the systems a little bit easier, like I explained, where you can
like
block and then parry at the same time. And also, you have levels of difficulty. So normal is hard.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to act like normal is like, oh, it's fun. It's fine. I played on normal most of the game, and I made sure anytime I was doing a main mission, especially going against the boss, that I was like 8 to 10 levels above. Now, here's the thing that makes it sound like, well, Derek, you're just grinding. That gets repetitive. This is where I don't agree with the reviewers a lot, is they made it sound like the open world is just this like boring checklist. Maybe it's just me, but I have absolutely loved exploring. Like I go and open up the map and you'll see a gazillion things. I don't get overwhelmed by that. I do almost everything. But it's all interesting stuff, and the reason why it's really interesting to me is 90% of it is combat based. Go there and wipe them all out. Okay, that's fun.
Is there a lot of like stealth in that too? I mean, I've kind of heard there's some comparisons to like Assassin's Creed almost in a way, and
there is stealth. It's not great in the beginning, but you can unlock abilities. So I was explaining to Tim, in Current Gen, because he on their regular podcast he was essentially saying I don't like the stealth, and his complaint was actually valid because when you start,
It's not. You're right. The detection is kind of weird.
Yeah,
at first,
it's weird. It gets better. So, and I'll explain. So, when you first start and you're like, okay, I want to stealth, you're not going to be able to. You can stealth some guys. I'm not saying you can't stealth at all. But anybody who's on a roof with a gun is probably going to spot you. Okay. And second thing is when you first start the game, you don't have really any abilities unlocked. So, you can probably kill one guy, but a lot of situations, there's like 3 guys standing around a fire. So yeah, I stealth one guy. Guess what's there? 2 other
Sure.
dudes. But later on, like I unlocked a couple of things. One, a tool, and this tool basically sends sound vibrations out, and you can see everybody that's close to you. So that already allows you to plan everything out. Because when you first start the game, you really can't tell most of the time where everybody is. You can spot a few guys, but there's a lot of guys hidden, or it's just hard to see. So the sound wave gadget really helps. And then the second thing that I unlocked that's really freaking cool that makes me want to do stealth more is I like to jump down from a roof, kill one dude, and then the other 2 enemies that are around them get stunned and they just stand there.
Sure.
And you just one shot them. So
Nice.
you take
Okay.
all 3 of them out, and it's all rhythm. Boom, 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 dead. And it's super satisfying.
Okay,
and
that
to
sounds
me,
cool.
yeah, so there's just so many things it's just a fun game. That's why I said it's the best game. I'm not trying to get a reaction out of the Final Fantasy fanboys. I love Final Fantasy. I do. And I really like Rebirth, although I have some serious complaints as I keep going through the game. Rise of the Ronin, in my 33 hours, not one time did I go, okay, I'm getting sick and tired of doing this.
Every fight is fun.
Was
every
33
fight
hours
is
to
fun.
finish the game? Or are you done with it, or?
It takes like 25 hours if you just focus on the campaign, but I'm telling you, there's 3 big areas. I'm only in the second big area. I'm not doing all the stuff. There's a lot of stuff. But I'm doing anything that's combat, I'm doing it. If it's take a picture, I don't care. I don't want to take a picture. I did it in the beginning, but I'm like,
cats?
I do pet cats. But the main thing I do is combat. If I see there's a territory to wipe out, I go wipe it out. If there's a criminal that's on the loose, I go kill him. And there's benefits to doing it. It's not just, oh, you check mark this off. You're upgrading your character. There's certain upgrades that are hidden behind doing these types of checklist items.
Yeah, no, and I get that. I mean, it's like same way in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Yeah. Like it's not all the best side content, but like you like doing it all because you get like the better gear, the upgrades.
It's all paying off towards the end goal. See, there's I think 8 weapons, different weapons, or maybe 12. I forget.
Oh, wow.
And
there's a lot.
Weapon stuff, and each weapon has at least 4, maybe 6 different fighting arts. Different for instance, if they have a katana, I think there's 6 sword art schools that you have to learn. And you start with 2. And with each sword art school of fencing or whatever, there's 4 special moves associated with it. And yet each sword art is usually tied to an NPC that you meet that you have to build up a bond with. Or you run missions with them, and then whether you want to do it or not, it helps you build better special moves for the sword art school that he belongs to.
So one quick question: are sword arts kind of like stances?
It's not like high, medium, low stances like in Neo. That's
right.
That you do, and you can change them on the fly. It's almost like you do a paper, rock, scissors situation with
here. It's like Fire Emblem.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this hook, Shuken, Ryu, Jitsu is good for guys against spears, and there's on screen
the game tells you.
Yeah, this is there's an arrow system. There's
and you can switch them on the fly. Whichever one.
Arrow blue means that they're not weak to that. Arrow red down means that they take more damage and they're more vulnerable to getting stunned and stuff like that.
Whoa, okay, I like that. I like that.
What's that?
I think that's the exact opposite.
No.
Oh shit.
I read it. You've been doing it wrong. You're red is what you want. It's letting you know that the enemy is vulnerable to it.
Well, Sasan's colorblind anyway, so he probably can't tell.
He's like, I keep using green.
He's like, I keep hitting it on the brown one. I don't know.
So the arrow up. When the arrow's up, that means That's bad for me, right?
Correct.
Shit, I've been playing much harder.
That means his defense is up to that.
Oh
that
no!
Oh, that's funny.
His defense is down. Red, huh?
Is it blue?
Blue is up. Red is down.
Okay.
Yeah, you want red.
Bro.
Google it in case I'm
Much harder.
screwing it up, but I'm 99% sure I saw
I
it.
really want to know who's right on this. How many hours are you in, Sasan?
Like 60.
Like 60. I really want to know if you had this
I'm gonna
fixed up for 60
Google it
hours.
right now.
Yeah, please find out. But no, I like this idea a lot more with what you're talking about, like the different stances and stuff like that. Like that gets to be like too much thinking and stuff on like that's kind of where I start getting turned off. And you know, Dark Souls, you might have one extra thing, but that's kind of where Neo made it too hard.
This is kind of like Neo because you're fumbling around with the basically stances in the middle of a combat where you're also managing your inventory wheel at the same time, and your block and your parry and your dodge while these guys are moving lightning fast. Yes, it's hard, but it's fun. They do it so well, handle it so well. I think better. I think Team Ninja makes way better combat games than FromSoft. It's not even close to me.
Oh.
Except maybe second.
Those are strong words. I'm not quite there with you yet. You were definitely a FromSoft fan long before I ever was, but that's definitely the genre I've leaned more into, and I've tried to do some of these spin-offs like Wolong and Neo, and I just can't get into them the same way. But this definitely sounds a little more approachable.
You motherfucker! I've been the one screwing it up. Sasan was right.
Okay, good game with that.
Which is hilarious because it's hilarious because I watched a YouTube video and I didn't know, right? I assumed blue up was correct. And he's like, red down is the way, that's what you want. That's the stand you want. I was like, oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that means they're more vulnerable. Red, blah, 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 blah. And now I just read it on IGN. They're like, you get more bonus attack. They're more vulnerable if you use the blue arrow up. And I'm like,
that's.
Well, that's good to know. I'm glad I know that before I give it a shot.
Yeah, but I would say both Sasan and I love it. It's your favorite game so far this year, right?
Oh yes, nothing's even close. Maybe Helldivers too, but I don't really count those multiplayer things as like a true.
Is there anything you dislike about the game though?
I'll tell you one thing I really fucking hate: those cats. Somehow you could like sprint to the cat and they're just sitting there, but sometimes they're like really fucking sensitive, and they start like
they alert,
and then you try to crouch and you try to crawl away slow, very slowly, and they get spooked out and they dart off. What is that? I hate that.
That's just a cat being a cat, man. Not every cat.
They be consistent. All the cats are that sensitive, or all of them don't care. They just can't like random.
Cats are like women. Not all women are the same. You know that. Some are sensitive and will run away. Some will stay there and want you to pet them.
That's a fair metaphor.
Besides that,
very good.
I probably don't like. I was a little disappointed that it's basically a one-button combat game. You know what I mean? It's square. I know, but like I said, there's stances that you manage on the fly. There's inventory things on that you manage with the D-pad, like I said, block, parry. But for the most part, you're hitting square a lot. And I just wish it was a little bit more. I like the combo.
I like it. I use triangle a lot, though, not just for parry. Yeah. I finish my combos off with the triangle. Plus, and I'm sure you know this, Sasan, but another thing I'll mention for Dan and any listeners that care, they encourage you to switch your stance mid-combo. So, like, you could be starting a square combo with your right stance and you switch it to the left stance, and it will maybe the character your guy will do like a sweeping circle, wide strike, and then continue the combo. It's really freaking cool when you do it. Sometimes I do it on accident because I'm like button mashing and I accidentally hold down R1 or whatever and move it over, and I'm like, oh, I just did the coolest freaking combo. So it to me, and Wolong's real close, and I really loved Neo. And I bash Neo 2 more because Sasan loves it so much. But I liked Neo 2, but I feel like this is the perfect mixture for anybody who's like, Hey, I've always been interested in their games, but they're a little overwhelming because Team Ninja is very good at being very hard. They've always been this way. They were the original Dark Souls, man. If you ever played Ninja Gaiden on frickin' Xbox, dude, I couldn't even get. This is when I was a noob trash gamer. I couldn't get past like the first boss in Ninja Gaiden. That guy freaking wiped me, and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah, I remember being really bad at Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah, all of them. Well, 3 is when they made it like super easy, but 1 and 2 were really hard. There's just everything in this game. So I like the open world. I like all the missions. I'll tell you all the things I do like. I don't really think there's anything I dislike. Oh, the graphics. I'm a graphics whore. It's an ugly game. It's an ugly game. It's an ugly game.
Some of the best grass ever seen in a game.
I like the open world and like the way the wind moves everything. I would say Ghost of Tsushima is very close too, like as far as the way everything looks. Ghost of Tsushima is a better looking game. I will say this too. It has, I think its biggest weakness when I talk about graphics is also the color palette. It's a very like bland colors. They're not vibrant. And I think if it was a more vibrant game, I think people would think it looks better. It doesn't look and I can speak factually here because I just booted it up again not too long ago on the Xbox Series X. This game looks no different than a Yakuza game. So if you like Yakuza games, I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear you saying that this game's ugly because it looks exactly like a Yakuza game. It's the same type of like art style, same color palette, almost same everything. The only difference is this is more open world. Like when I say big areas, these areas are pretty freaking big.
Like the island on Ghost of Tsushima, like something like that.
Bigger.
It's been a while since I played Ghost, but I feel like this is bigger.
Yeah, there's like that one had like sections to the island, and they were pretty big areas. But you think this is bigger, Sasan?
I would say pretty. I think so.
I don't know. From what I've watched in videos, I mean, it seems like it's fairly large.
It's big.
I couldn't believe how much content there is. I was like, oh goddamn, this is gonna be a pain in the ass. There's a lot of stuff there. There's a lot.
At some point,
you don't have the platinum yet.
No, it's just,
he's a noob. He's a noob.
Come on, dude.
At some point, I am gonna mainline it, but right now, every time I think maybe I should mainline it because I haven't played Dragon's Dogma as much as I want, and there's some other games like Banishers which I really liked, and I got 3/4 of the way through it, and then got distracted by Final Fantasy, and then Final Fantasy I got distracted by Rise of the Ronin. So at some point, I'm gonna mainline it just because I want to beat this, and then go back and beat Final Fantasy.
Something else.
Yes. But at the same time, the reason I'm saying that is that this game is so good to me. And anybody that's listening to me, I'm not a freaking Team Ninja fanboy. You need to take my opinion seriously because I don't sit there and go, Team Ninja is the greatest thing ever. I don't. I thought Wo Long was fun, but I had my issues with it. I think their games are good, but they're never amazing to me. This is the first one where I'm like, I was listing stuff off. I like the combat. I like the characters. I love the characters. I've never cared about any character.
Only just story game. Seriously, I'm actually listening to dialogue.
Yes, I skip everything in Neo and Wo Long. I was like, I don't care.
That's really interesting because I didn't even ask about the story, or you guys didn't even touch on that. I just assumed there wasn't much that.
And I was gonna say this. Sasan mentioned bonds that help you unlock. So you're creating bonds with these characters, and it's a bunch of characters. We're not talking like a party of 6, like a JRPG. This is a bonds with like 50 gazillion characters, it feels like, but it's all set up like Persona. So if you know the Persona games, there's a lot of dialogue, like conversations you have with them. There's gift giving, so you want to pay attention to what these people are interested in, and if you give them gifts, then you level up the bond, you level up the tools you might unlock, or the skills you unlock, or things like that. A lot of stuff is hidden behind all these systems in the game, so it encourages you to do the systems. And like I was saying earlier, none of them are annoying. None of them.
No.
And the only ones that I would say, okay, taking photos can be annoying sometimes or whatever. that one, once I got what I wanted, I was like, I don't really care anymore. I don't need to do it anymore. But all the stuff I care about, like combat stuff, is mostly hidden behind, hey, go kill more people. Hey, bro, you're talking
Always
my
fun.
language with this game. Yeah,
Yep.
I've never had one boss fight or anything that has been infuriating that to the point where I'm like, I'm done.
Sure.
You can co-op this game,
All right
you
on.
know, so you can play with strangers.
Not in the open world, though, just in the missions.
No, just in the like main missions or whatever you do, or bonding missions. It will tell you
Oh.
you want to co-op it or you want to do it on your own. Now, when you do it on your own, you always have a party of like 2 or 3.
Okay.
So that's the other thing Sasan and I didn't really talk about, because a lot of times you are playing solo, but when you're in a mission, there's 2 or 3 guys with you, and you can do quick switches to everybody, and it's actually encouraged. They train you in the beginning of the game. They're like, hey, you're gonna fight with this guy. This is the character you created, but it's actually smart to do quick switches so you can gain the advantage on these enemies, because like Sasan was saying, a lot of these attacks from especially bosses are quick and heavy. Well, that's the thing. If the boss is coming towards you, you do a quick switch, the AI will take over your character, which will probably block or at least try to
Right.
parry or something, but you're not going to take a lot of damage. And you switch to the other character that's behind him and you start striking him. And then you gain his attention, you do a quick switch back, and then you just play off each character. Or you co-op it with random people or your friends. More than likely, you're going to do it with random people.
Randos, yeah.
And they just control the other characters. You just focus on your character.
Okay.
That's like
So
Final Fantasy, right?
honestly, it's impossible to not be able to beat this game unless you are just a tard, because you can put the game on easy. In every boss match, you can co-op with somebody.
hmm
And if you suck
Well,
at
and
the
it sounds
game,
like playing with the NPCs too, just switching
yeah,
amongst them. That's a
yeah,
great way to just be able to
Well,
stay on the offensive
and
and
not that,
let
yeah,
let the AI, do the defense.
if you want to switch
yeah,
your characters up, they're just there at least to, like, if you go down,
Yep.
it's automatic to the next guy, and you just go heal yourself and revive yourself back up. So you can use it as like a way to keep yourself alive,
I like it.
and then
That
switching
sounds
to
cool.
fight the other guy.
I
Sure.
think the game will probably be on sale soon. I think it's one you should definitely pick up.
I don't know the way you guys talk about it and everything. I think you got me sold on it. So I think there's enough changes and forgiveness in some of Team Ninja's
Let me
systems
say
that
this: it's 95% of it is the easiest Team Ninja game they've ever made,
yeah.
but the 5% of it I think is just kind of. I'm serious. There's like, I'm gonna get a video recording. There's sometimes there's like no frames of animation, and when they're
Yeah.
standing in front of you, they come into you. It's like instantaneous. It's
Hmm.
actually quite funny, and that's you. I think made you a
I
pain.
don't know.
But it's
It sounds like I could get into this. Like I could have fun. I mean, you guys have played 30, 60 hours in it, and the combat's still a good time.
oh, I love it. I
Yes,
can't
yeah.
the way they pay so much care and attention to the way they do the sword arts, and like the way they
Mm-hmm.
handle the sword, the way they hold
The
it.
finishing moves, oh,
Oh,
dude,
I'm a slut for samurai and ninja
yeah.
stuff, anyways. So I mean, it already
Like,
has me interested.
listen, I
did you
liked Ghost of
actually
Tsushima a lot. I did, but I prefer this game over Ghost just
Oh
because of
wow,
the combat. Just because of the
really?
combat. First of all,
I
it has
love
a
the combat.
lock-on
Oh,
system, so Ghost of Tsushima can fuck off
Oh
because
yeah,
they
I
don't
forgot
even do
about
a
that.
lock-on system. And
we'll
then the
talk about
second
that.
thing is this game has some of the best styles and switching quickly and finishers. Like everything feels, dude. Let me say this, because I'm pretty good at these games, but I'm not going to sit here and talk like I'm amazing. When I freaking get in a rhythm, because I told you I don't block. When I get in a rhythm where I'm parrying these guys and I nail it, nothing more satisfying than that.
Oh,
And
I'm
I'll do
sure.
it. I'll do like 3 or 4 parries in a row,
That's really
and
good.
those guys they'll get
They get,
dazed, and they'll
yeah,
just sit there, and I'll one shot them, and
instant.
I'm like, hell
So good.
yeah, dude, hell yeah. But there's other times where these guys will throw 3 or 4 strikes at me so fast, and I'm like, parry, and I'm always behind. Always behind. I'm like, fuck, I'm dead. So it happens, but like when
hmm
you get it, it's so freaking satisfying. But yeah, we've
Well,
talked about that enough. I think
but
go ahead.
Dan, you should know the enemies when they attack you. like you get interrupted all the time. So that's what makes it kind of a little difficult. I think that all their moves have armor. You know what I mean? They just hit right through your attack. So you really gotta like, you can't. It's hard to spam because if they're winding up for a big attack, you can't interrupt them, but they can sure as shit interrupt you.
Right. So it's not something you want to just be like total button mashy
Yeah, and
platinum game. There's still some strategy in it.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
a key system and all that. And you get tired.
Sure.
Oh, didn't tell them about the. Do you remember the key pulse in Neo 2, where after you do a combo,
Yeah.
hit R1 and then you
Yep.
get. There's that again. It's called a blade flash. It has this too. It's
Oh,
a lot
right
and-
on.
easier to do than in Neo 2. There's no.
And we didn't talk about the upgrades, Sasan. Like, I feel like the upgrades in this game are more player friendly too, because like it gives you a lot more bonuses to like key pulls, combos. Like you're constantly evolving your character. You're not just learning new styles and that's it. You're picking your upgrades. Like I'm pretty even on everything I'm picking because there's like strength, intellect, charisma, and then I'm forgetting the fourth one.
I think that's it. 4. I think
I
it's
thi-
4.
Yeah, but what was the one? I only listed 3.
Intellect, charisma.
Oh,
strength,
agility or whatever. Like
Intellect.
agility or something
Okay.
like that.
Sure.
But anyways, the point is I was focusing mostly on strength, but I ended up started spreading it out. And the reason I was doing strength is because most of what's tied to strength, because I use katana. I
Same.
only use a katana. I
Same.
started. I thought I was going to use double swords, but katanas are freaking.
Oh, it's
They're
beautiful.
they're awesome. So
Right on.
I only use katanas, and strength build is tied to katanas.
And deal
So
with that.
I get a lot of like bonuses on all my combos and all my abilities because I'm leveling that up the most. So the leveling system it's not just, hey, I'm level 32 now and I have more HP. It's also, hey, you're earning points. What do you want to do with these points? And how do they impact your character in a positive and negative way? And there's a lot of them. Like if you want to be you want to have a you want to focus more on key pulses and stuff like that, there's special bonuses for that, all that type of stuff. So
Sure.
definitely, in my opinion, the best game Team Ninja has put out, and I'm very addicted to this. This is a game where when they release it on PC, and I expect that they will, I will rebuy this game and I
Sure.
will
You'll
play it.
double dip on this one.
I will master race this game.
Heck yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Oh, definitely. And honestly, I might wait for it to come to Steam, but we'll see what happens. If
I
it
don't
goes
think
on a
they
good sale,
announced it, so it'd probably be a year away.
no,
if
it'd probably be at
Sony-
least a year, maybe
Yeah.
more.
Don't they
But
do PC day and date for their older games, like for Neo, for Wolong and Neo 2 and Neo?
I
those
think
PC
they did.
Wolong was on
PlayStation?
PC right away.
Yeah.
Neo was not.
Wasn't?
I don't know about Neo 2. I know for sure Neo came out later. I think Neo 2 did too. Maybe when it like released on PS5 or something like that.
That's yeah, you're right. That's right. That's right.
But overall, it's a 9 out of 10 for me so far. I'm not going to give it any lower unless it gets like something stupid
9.5.
later.
It's
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
one open world game.
Yeah. So we're probably the only 2 guys in the world that would give this game that high, but I think it's worthy of it. So
Well, you are 2 gentlemen. I actually trust your opinion. So it
good.
does sound like a good time, and I definitely think it'd be in line with a lot of the sensibilities I have. I think it's toned down just enough. And heck, if there's an easy mode, that might just be what carries me through. But if it's got a good story and great combat, like I'm in.
There's a
All
Tengu
right.
mask too. I heard. I gotta get
There's
that.
a what?
A Tengu mask.
Oh yeah.
Tengu. You know what a Tengu is?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every time I put your name in on Facebook, it pops up a Tengu.
Yeah, that's what it comes up. It's a Sasan.
It's the Sasan mask. All right, so let's switch games. Let's talk about another big hitter that came out. Well, now we're recording, I think 11 or 12 days after it released. Dragon's Dogma 2. Now, to intro this, and then Dan, I'm going to let you talk just because, I mean, you did talk during the last game, but you didn't get to talk about your experience. So I'll let you go first. But Dragon's Dogma 2, just to kind of set the stage. So this is why I'm so high on Rise of the Ronin, by the way, is Dragon Dogma 2 and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth were the two games I was most excited for. But hands down, Dragon Dogma 2 was the one I thought will be my game of the year. And the reason why is because I bought the original day one and I became obsessed with it for the same reasons that I'm praising Rise of the Ronin. And that was I love the open world, the like open area. I always felt like I was playing a Lord of the Rings game where I'm just on a journey with a few pawns and we're wiping out these ridiculously tough beasts. At that time, they were tough for me because I remember when I bought this game, I had bought Dark Souls on the 360 before it and played it to the first or second boss and was like, F this game. I'm not playing this no more. So I was not good at Souls games. I had never beaten a Souls game. So I played Dragon's Dogma and I ran into that same experience the first time I played it until I learned the pawn system and kind of, in a way, cheesed the first game because I was like, oh, level 85 pawn for free because my friend gave it to me. Okay, now I can obliterate everybody. So, anyways, my hype level for this game is super high. That being said, I've only actually played like 8 hours.
Yeah.
I'm not super deep into it because of Rise of the Ronin. So, Dan, let's start with you. First of all, do you like the game, and how long or how far are you into the game as far as hour wise?
Okay. Well, I'm probably going to disappoint you a little bit. I'm just not as much of a pro gamer, so I'm probably around the 10-hour mark in the game right now. So not very
Lock.
far, not very far into it. I've still been jumping back to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and playing around with a few other games. But when I play Dragon's Dogma, I'll sit there play it for like 2 hours, and
Yeah.
so I've really had some like good sessions with it and enjoyed it. I'm at the part where I'm just heading to the capital. I just kind of did some like monster clearings out like around the area, so got a good bit of explored around the first big major city that you come to, and so I feel like I got a good flavor for the game. And all I could say overall is yes, I really like the game so far, but it
Awesome.
comes with an asterisk to an extent. It's a
All
very
right.
weird game from what I've experienced. I never played the original
I
Dragon's
was gonna
Dogma,
ask
so
you, did you play the original? Okay.
I didn't really know exactly what I was getting into. I've always been, referred that game. People seem to think I'd like it anyways. And definitely, I got right into this game and I fell in a click like really quick with it. Combat's a little weird, just the fact that you can't do a lock on, but once you kind of get the hang of just positioning your character, they kind of have a little bit of auto targeting
I
as
was
long
gonna
as you.
say it feels like it's like an auto lock
Yeah,
on
you
where
just got
it's
to be
not manual.
facing the general direction, and
Yeah.
it'll kind of do
Oh,
to what
yeah.
you want it to do. And then the special abilities, the pawns, it's just very interesting, kind of what they got going on with it. I like the level up system because I'm gaining stats every level that I get,
Yeah.
but it's really, if I want the moves and stuff like that, you got to upgrade the vocations and just use them. So I started off as a fighter because sword and
I was
board
gonna
is,
ask.
yeah,
Okay.
usually about where I like to start with things like this. So definitely always a fan of that style, but I want to try other vocations too. And it wasn't long after I got to the first big town, I unlocked well, you get the warrior and I think it's the sorcerer one, but you got to find a great sword and a staff. So I found the great sword, so I unlocked the warrior vocation, and I switched that. I probably only got about halfway's powered up on the fighter one. So unlocked, quite a bit of new abilities with it. Had all my skills like kitted out and was working pretty good. But switching over to the warrior, it's just a lot different type fighting style. So it seems like these vocations are going to, play pretty completely differently. And then how you get to pair that up with your pawns, and pick their vocations, what they're good at, and like you said, I'm not getting no level 85 pawns quite yet, but
You can
if
buy
you
them.
pay, what's that?
You can buy a level
Yeah, you
85.
can pay a little extra money or whatever that currency is, and you can
Yeah.
get upon like a few levels above you. So I've done that, and I've kind of played around with it a little bit. My main pawn is a wizard, I think, but she mainly focuses on like healing and buffing me, which is
Hmm.
great. So she has like this. I don't know, dome thing she casts. I just stand in it. It heals me all the time, and she'll buff me with like ice and fire on my weapons and lightning. So
I think
she's
those are mages, and then they have
oh
wizards that are more dark arts, where they're more offensive,
uh-huh.
whereas
Yep.
what you have is more defensive and
Yeah,
buffing.
I got more of a
Yeah.
support one as my main
Yeah,
pawn, and
that's what I
then
meant. Support. Yeah.
yep, yep. And then the other two pawns I got, then I got whatever the other one was, the wizard sorcerer. That's more the
Yeah.
offensive one that lays waste
I like
spells.
having both those.
Yep.
Yes.
And then I got like this dark elf that's I think it's just a normal archer, I don't know, but like that was
Okay.
one of the ones I paid for, so she does pretty good damage and stuff from afar and make sure everybody's healed up. So I just like how you can kind of play with that and mix that together. Like I'm having a lot of fun with it, and everything like since I've started it's just been like completely organic and dynamic, and like
Yeah.
how the world and everything works. Like there's very minimal markers and icons on your map. This isn't like a Witcher 3 or an Assassin's Creed where you just got question marks everywhere. It's literally there's a cave or something over there. Like go check it out, see what you can find. And I've just done a lot of like exploring through the first kind of quests I got to, help the townsfolk or whatever. I had to clear out like 3 monster groups, but it took me in like such a big wide radius around the town, and that's really where the journey is. And
Yeah.
you can't get anywhere fast in this game so far. I mean, the
No.
ox cart, there's ox carts, so there's like somewhat of a fast travel, but like they only go to like certain locations. Like I hopped in one, and it took me like the clear other side of the map somewhere I didn't even want to be
Yeah.
yet, so I just hopped in and went back. But so it's different in those ways. There's just some of the mechanics and everything. It almost feels like it's a PS3 game, but um, I think that's just what they're going for. It's just
It
Capcom. They're
is.
kind of weird in their open worlds. I mean, their Monster Hunter games have
Yeah.
always been a little, and they kind of stick
Quirky.
with
Yeah.
how they develop it. So I'm just trying to do what it wants me to do or how it wants me to do, and it's pretty chill. I like it. NPCs will run up to you and give you side quests and stuff to do, and it just
Yeah,
seems
I
like
like how the random pawns will just come up to you and like try to like hoard themselves out
yep,
to you.
yeah. Just
Like,
try to
hey,
get like a part of
hey,
your
I'm
party.
really good in bed. Do you want me? I'm like, no, I've got something higher level. See ya.
Yeah, and then it gives you incentives to like kit out your pawn and stuff like that and upgrade them, because like
Mm-hmm.
if people pick them up in the rift or whatever and take them out on their adventures, then you'll get stuff and experience back for them, and your pawn will grow and learn new things. I mean,
And when other people use your pawn, if they like it, they'll like it or heart it and then give you a gift. So
yep,
I've gotten gifts for I created Geralt. He's my fighter, and
heck
then
yeah,
I created Siri as a thief. Um, wait, thief, right? Is that right, Sasan?
yep.
Yeah.
They're a thief. Yep,
Yeah.
that's the other
So
class.
I
That
created
that
her to
I
be a
almost
thief.
picked thief. I heard thief was a lot of
Yeah.
fun.
I do regret that. I wish I would have made Siri my character and done thief, and then made Geralt as the
Yep.
warrior as my sidekick. That's what I wish I would have done. Because I'll sit there. By the way, I enjoy the fighter. I don't agree with some of the people who are like it's the worst class. I'm like it's super fun and I feel
Yeah.
powerful. But
Have you
when
unlocked
you
the
walk,
ability where you like put up your shield and like launch people onto like big
yeah.
enemies? Like I thought that was just like so fun. You can
Cool.
like direct them and you can
Mhm.
send them over like canyons and stuff like that. Like I just thought, yeah, I thought he was a lot of fun to play with.
Yeah. The reason and same reason I love the first one and anybody who's ever listened to me on any podcast is probably gonna roll their eyes because I say it all the time. This is my Lord of the Rings game. The reason I watch Lord of the Rings movies is because I love that they're on an adventure. They're not fast traveling anywhere. You
Hmm.
feel like you feel like you're experiencing the entire journey, that they don't ever skip ahead. I know they do technically,
Yeah, with
but you
like the
don't.
ox cart, but yeah, it's different. It's not the same as
Yeah.
fast travel for me.
No, but most of the missions designs are to like, hey, you're in point A here, you got to get to point B all the way across the map. And you're not fast traveling, so as you're traveling, you run into like you were talking about, there's caves, there's all these enemies all the way
Yeah,
around, and it's very
the enemies.
organic. So you could be fighting like this big troll and then a freaking another big beast can come and join in the fight. Like you don't know and that happens a lot in like Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter, you'll be fighting like this big T-Rex or something, and then this bird will fly in and start fighting, and I'm like, what the heck? Well, it's the same thing here. It's all organic, and you don't know what's gonna happen. You could just be like thinking 1 minute you're in control of the fight, you're good to go, and then somebody else could join in and absolutely destroy you. But that's what I love about it. I play these games for the mission or for the journey. I don't play the missions to see what the plot's like. I heard this one's got a better plot or a better story and plot than the first one. Don't even ask me how the first one played out. I just know they took my heart, and then I killed the dragon that had my heart. That's all I know.
I did watch like just like a Dragon's Dogma one like story recap just so I kind of knew what I was getting into this game, and the story's fine. It's what it is right now. I mean, it's got me pointed in the right direction, but like you said, it's really going from one place to the next, that journey. I mean, that it's just what an adventure.
Yeah. So, Sasan, what are your thoughts? Well, first of all, tell us how far you are into the game, how many hours. What did you choose as far as class, and then what's your thoughts on the game?
Right now, I think I'm probably 10 or 12 hours in. I'm a warrior.
Loser.
How many hours are you in, Derek? I want to know. 8, right? But that's because Rise of the Ronin's fault. So
yeah. I really like it. I just think it's.
Did you play Dragon's Dogma?
I did. I never finished it. That was in a weird one. That was end of the PS3 360 era.
Yeah.
I was into the Demon.
I don't know if it was at the end though.
It was somewhere like towards the latter half of that console generation, I think.
Because I remember I played the game at launch, I beat it, and then Dark Arisen's that version came out, which added more content to it, but was also the main game too. And I played and beat the DLC or whatever, the added content. I think that was in the later part of the generation, but I think the original game came out before that.
I was a little more selective about what I bought back then, just because of money reasons. But now I just buy everything. But no, right now I really like it. I just think it's so cool. You get that two-handed sword, and you're so strong that you can just
great sword.
You do that. Was it Shoryuken that Ryu does in Street?
Yeah, where he like uppercuts him. Yeah, he charges it up, and then he does like this double uppercut. Like,
that is so cool. I mean, it's just so fun. I just like, you think you're doing good. It's like, okay, I got this big troll down, everything's going well. The griffin flies in. It started turning to night, and these skeletons start popping out of the ground. You're right by the campfire. You can't use the campfire because there's enemies around. And it gets really frantic, and it's like that's when you realize that's the game. Not like
that was the other thing.
It's not that. This is the game. Is that part that seems to suck? Enjoy that because that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, what we didn't say is the journey. So, right, I said that you're going on this long journey. What we didn't say, that I'm going to say right now, and then I'm going to let you talk, is that your health is dwindling. So, you can be healed, but you can't, like, if your health bar is this, every time you get, like, hurt, you keep losing your health bar, and you can only heal back up to what is lost. So, you can't keep healing all the way over here. It keeps dwindling down. So at one point, I got to where I only had this. Even with my mage constantly healing me, I'm like, dude, I need to camp like right now. And I didn't. I couldn't find
love that. It like, I mean, and that's what makes it feel like a journey is because you can only go for so long, and it is that risk reward.
You tire out,
push on, but like camps usually you got to use what are those, like the tents or whatever, and it seems like sometimes they're consumables, sometimes you can reuse them, otherwise you got to rest at an inn, which is like 2,000 gold. And I haven't got to I guess there's a quest where you can buy a house in the capital or whatever. I just haven't got to it yet, so I think that's the best thing to do. But then you actually have to get back to the capital to rest, and like we've talked about, getting anywhere in this game's a journey. I mean, there is some fast travel, and it seems like I'm getting a lot of like those gems now, so I don't know if they've tweaked it. They did do an update, and I have actually seen better performance on my PC.
I was going to ask you, are you playing on PC? Because you got that nice PC now.
Yep. So
Okay.
I started on it. I just got a 4070 Ti, but it's plenty capable, and I just 1440p monitor. So it looks great. But like I crank everything up to ultra. I usually don't mess with ray tracing. I just leave that off and run everything at ultra. And when I was first playing this game, when it first launched, like my CPU was cooking. It was getting up like 90 plus degrees. Like just with everything running, it starts throttling at 100 degrees. We never quite got there, but we were getting close, and that's just kind of how it was running. And then after this latest patch, and I never really noticed any performance issues or anything with the game. It looks fine, like the
Yeah, mine was fine.
DLSS balance, and like it
Yeah.
looks great, it runs great. Even the frames, they'll drop down to like 40 frames per second in like the big cities and even sometimes in the open world, but with VRR and everything, like I don't really notice any issues there. Mostly it runs at 60 to 120 FPS. It's just very variable. But after the update, though, like I noticed at least a good reduction in my CPU now. It's like about 80 degrees running full throttled. So taking a little
That's
less of a
because
hit
I
there.
don't know if you did any research, but that's because they tied every NPC to your CPU.
Yep. Yeah. No,
So
I
like,
did read that. It's pretty
yeah, so if
CPU
you walk
heavy.
into a
Yep.
town and there's like 30 people walking around, all the AI that they're using, and these are pretty intelligent characters. They're not just
Yeah, they
standing in the
are.
corner like this,
Right.
They're living their lives. That AI is tied to our CPU. So if you have a good or mediocre CPU, you're going to be like, crap. Um, I didn't experience any of that because I did go all the way high end. I think Sasan did too. Like my CPU is the best CPU you can have on the
Hmm.
market. My GPU is the best GPU you can have on the market, and it's actually the two best combined together. Like they work good together. Um, and so I didn't have any like significant issues or any heating or anything like that, but I did see the drops, and that was because I was like, yeah, it's because it's tied to it.
Hmm.
So this isn't balanced or optimized very good, but it never got to the point. I can see what I'm trying to say is I can see if you have like a mid range. I'm not
Yeah.
saying you do, but I'm talking to
Right.
listeners. You're gonna be annoyed because it shouldn't be performing the way it was. But if you're high end like me and Sasan, you're not experiencing that at all. You're like, what are
No.
they talking about? This is stupid.
Yeah.
I'm
The
running at
only thing
80 to
I've
100
seen is
frames per second.
yeah, like you said, in some of the towns, like I'll see
Yeah.
a little frame drops when it starts getting around 40 FPS, but it's nothing too bad. I mean,
Yeah, it's good. I played the game in 8K, and that's not a flex. I just like to test all my games on 8K just to see if I can do it, and it does it. It runs it at
sure.
8K. Not everything maxed out. I think I put everything on high. I did turn off ray tracing, but I had my DLSS set to quality. I don't like going below quality. I like it to look like
I
what it's
usually do
supposed to look
balance,
like.
so balance
Balance
works
is
pretty good
pretty
for
good
me.
on a lot of them. Performance is trash on most of them.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
like performance because then
I
the
don't.
picture just looks like shit.
Yeah, it's like,
I
oh,
do
am
all
I
fair
really
balance.
doing it at 4K? No, I'm not. I'm doing
Yeah,
it. It
I
looks terrible.
yeah, I do 1440p, so it's usually not much of an issue. But balanced or quality is definitely the way to go. I found the performance setting. It just yeah, it looks pretty trashy.
Most of the time. So I played it on 8K and it looked really good. But I will say, I did switch it over to my high-end 4K monitor and put all the bells and whistles on. That includes ray tracing and everything. And I was like, this looks better than the 8K. Like the 8K looks good. Like you can see the difference in the resolution. It makes it tighter. And I really like 8K. But as far as level of detail, even the ray trace lighting, the lighting was better on my monitor.
Hmm.
So that's where I'm gonna play it most of the time. But um, I Sasan, we kind of hijacked you. Let's go back to you.
Hijacking's my job.
Yeah, yeah. For those who don't
Loud,
understand YouTube, he's talking.
loud and proud.
I can't say the word. They'll like do something to me.
Yeah, yeah.
He's from the
You'll get a
Middle
ban.
East. He hijacks. Let's figure that out. All right, go ahead.
But what? Yeah.
Continue on with what you were saying. Your thoughts.
I just really like the game. I think what the problems you might have a typical open world game. I'm not looking for that in this one. I got other games
No.
for that. But what Dragon's Dogma was offering me is with the weird quirks and the gameplay of, like, the lack of fast travel, no lock on, all the stuff that you could complain about. I think it's a plus because there's nothing like Dragon's Dogma is its own thing. It's almost like its own
Very
genre
much.
game. There's nothing else like it. It's nothing like Skyrim. It's nothing like Dark Souls or whatever. It's like Dragon's Dogma 1. That's what it's like, and I like that too. So I think
it's just
great.
a better version of Dragon's Dogma 1. And I like that. This is why I like Japanese developers. Because, first of all, I hate Americans. I just want to state that. Well, but the reason I like Japanese developers is because they'll sit there and they'll listen to us whiny, entitled, woke Americans, and they'll go, I don't care.
Guilty.
I don't care. I'm going to release a game with a girl who has huge boobs and a big butt that looks like she's wearing a thong. I'm going to do it. If I want to create a game that doesn't have fast travel when everybody else makes a game open world that has fast travel, I'm going to do it. Like, that's just how they are. They're very set in, like, we do it our way. You don't like it, don't buy the game. But here's the thing. Most of us buy the games. And if we're not ridiculous, most of us find out when we're educated that these systems are built this way for a purpose. Just like Sasan was saying, I'm not playing Dragon's Dogma like I play Rise of the Ronin. So I'm not going to compare the two and go, well, they're both open world, so they should both do this, blah, blah, blah. Rise of the Ronin is definitely a checkbox, unlock things, upgrade your character, all that type of stuff. That's what it is with amazing combat. This game is go on a journey, experience it with these pawns that are unlike anything else in gaming. They're intelligent. Like, that's what I love. Like, if you go buy, because you're always earning currency, right? It's in game. Yep. You can spend real money, which was a controversy. But if you spend real money, you're really stupid because you get a lot of these.
To spend real money.
Yeah, you get a lot of these crystal rifts right off the bat.
You get plenty of them, believe me.
And also, here's the thing, and for those who don't know, if you've never played Dragon's Dogma game, is especially on Steam where I'm playing it, you can see whoever's got like a high level pawn, just friend request them, they'll add you, and that pawn is free. So if you want like a level 90 pawn, friend request them, they'll accept you, and then go to your friends list in your game, and their pawn will be available.
Nice. It's free. A good idea. I like that.
It's free. So that's if you're getting stuck or you just want somebody who's OP. But here's the other benefit to this pawn. It isn't just, they're higher level. That pawn has experienced probably the entire map. And that means they're extremely knowledgeable of every mission you're going on. So when you're on a mission, they'll be like, hey, let's go you should go over here. There's a chest over here. Or we should be going this way. Yeah. They're very intelligent. They're talking to you and telling you about the world. And what could potentially be coming. Like, I've been warned about potential bad enemies because they've experienced this area before, and they're like, normally, I want to say it's a troll, like the big trolls. Normally, trolls live in this area, so we need to be cautious. Now, the trolls aren't bad to take down. The griffins are the ones I'm worried about.
I haven't fought a griffin yet, but I did.
I did fight him in Dragon's Dogma, but not in.
Yeah, I've done a few. What are the lichens or werewolves, and then I think a cyclops and.
Yeah, cyclops is what I was trying to say.
Minotaur.
Yeah.
But so, holy crap! Like it takes like 20 minutes to take like one of those things down, and it's just like they got like 3 health bars, and you're just wailing on it forever. Like it's just a wild time, and like you say, all this other crap's happening right alongside. So, but I do like what the pawns do, like you say, leading you to the chest and everything. I've had them lead me to like characters or like looking for side quests and stuff like that. I've had them lead me like caves where there's treasure chests, and it can be quite a ways away, but they're fun and they're always interacting with you.
Let's like change it a little bit here. So overall, this game reviewed really, really well. Like, I think it's sitting at an 87 still. It may have gone up to an 88, may have dropped to an 86. I don't know. With a lot of reviews, it was at 87. So everybody was like, holy crap, this game's so freaking good. Then the game launches, and all these controversies come out. So there's 2 controversies. One, apparently most gamers were unaware that Capcom puts microtransactions in literally every single one of their games.
Right?
Okay?
You don't say.
Second of all, every single microtransaction in this game that you can buy is available in game by earning it. And before somebody listening goes, yeah, but they make you grind to dig to get it because they want you to buy their they don't. This freaking game just gives you everything freely. You have to literally be like, hey guys, I'm just gonna start this game and I want to buy a level 90 pawn, so I'm just gonna buy a bunch of crystal rifts.
Right.
You have to want to be cheating the game. The game gives you every microtransaction in game and does not hold it back and say you have to grind to get this.
No,
It's
and
just
it doesn't skimp on it or
to you.
anything. Like
No.
even like upgrading your vocations and stuff like that. All you gotta do is play the game, and it gives it out plenty.
So much. Every time I go to the vocation guy, just max out my guy. And
Yeah, you have like 2,000 things to just go spend as you want. And it's just like, okay, like I barely went out and did anything.
Yeah.
It's
even
awesome.
like armor and weapons. I'm in the beginning. When I first got to the town and was trying to buy stuff, I was like, "Oh, I don't have a lot of money." Then I went on like one adventure and came back and I was like, "How did I have like 25,000?" Which isn't a ton, but this was like my
No, but
first
it's a
main
good start,
adventure. And I was able to buy new weapons for me and Siri, and then I was able to buy all new armor. So like I was like decking and leveling all this stuff up to like most of them to level 3 or 4, like
because like the first one, like you
upgrades.
level up, you just pay a little gold, and then you need like certain resources after that. And like I've had
all
certain
that stuff.
I've had certain ones I could level up like 2 or 3 times right out the gate, and it's honestly like pretty affordable. I was kind of the same thing as you. Went out on like one good adventure. I came back with like a ton of crafting materials, gold, and like
because they're picking stuff up too, and you're picking stuff up.
Well, yeah, and they're gathering ingredients and crafting materials. Like I love it.
The only thing I keep screwing up on, and I've done this multiple times, is I'll release a pawn and replace them, and I forget that I forgot to take their stuff, so I give up all the stuff that I gave to that pawn. I lose it forever. I'm like,
so I haven't been like carrying a lot with my pawns, but like I've dumped like a bunch of ore on one and dismissed them, and then the other one, like they were carrying like 3 of my like camping tents, and like I dismissed them, and I like that was my whole inventory.
You're
so
like,
I was
dang
like,
it.
shit. Yes.
Yeah, because the camping bags are like super heavy. And based off this is another thing that's really cool. Based off the class that you pick, dictates how much you can carry before you feel overburdened.
Isn't that how big you are?
Yeah,
that's what it is.
It's part
that's
of your
what
character creation. Like,
so
it's
the character creator.
Yeah, I chose like a really tall, like kind of brute dude, and he's got a pretty good carrying capacity. But it's still like, when you're out doing this, you want to maximize that health bar, right? And like get it down to where you start getting nervous and like I better head back to camp or whatever. So you're carrying like quite a bit. Like I get overburdened and got to start spreading it out.
I do all the time.
Yeah, everybody else in the party.
Or a game with bad microtransactions or something. If they were to charge you with to get a bigger backpack to upgrade your carrying capacity, that would be
bullshit.
Exactly. That would be, and that's like a Ubisoft like microtransaction.
But they don't do
well, Sasan, I know Sasan, you created your butch transgender character, correct? That can carry the entire world on its back because she's alpha butch trans.
Yeah. It's kind of his style, so
yeah, it fits who you are as a person. Yeah. So let me ask you this: what's your favorite moment, without like any story spoilers? Has there been a favorite moment you've had in the adventure so far with Dragon's Dogma?
Yeah,
anything that sticks out.
It is just like it's just like such a great gameplay loop because I literally go off with like an objective in mind, like, and I want to get to this place to do this thing, help these villagers or something like that. And I got to this one spot where I had to help these villagers. I don't know, what was going on. First they were like stuck down in a cave, and then like I had to go explore
I
this
know what you're talking
cave and
about.
like
Yeah,
free
I know
all
what you're
them
talking
out. Then I had to go back, and then the town was overrun with them.
Yeah.
Then they want you to come back in a few days, like after they've had it like a chance rebuilding. It's just kind of like how you're out there completing these quests, and it seems like it's having an impact on the world and the characters around you. And I haven't I've ran like a day or so in the game cycle since, but I haven't been back to the town to kind of see what's up yet. But after I did all that, I'd kind of been through a fair amount at that point. There was a campsite right next to me. I didn't have that much health gone or anything like that, and I was like, screw it, I want to like make like a bigger loop and come back to the bigger city I was already at, kind of uncover more of the map. Well, I came across like this other tunnel and mines and all this shit to do, and I got down there about like 3/4 of the ways, and like it was like way over my level or of anywhere that I should be. I had to hightail it and get the hell out of there, and then it was just constantly trying to get through monsters and I think I ran into a big cyclops or something, which she wasn't too bad, but it was starting to get on that concerning point in my health bar and just trying to get back. So it just ended up being this whole big thing with trying to complete this part of the mission and then getting back to town and getting sidetracked. It's just I love every minute of it, and that's why it's just like so easy to sit down and play 2-3 hours in this game, because it's just constantly has my attention and pulling me in different directions.
Definitely a journey, not a destination game, for sure.
Yeah. So it's more the journey. I haven't come into a lot of big monsters yet. Like I've avoided a griffin that I've seen flying overhead, and a few cyclops and like I said, werewolves or whatever. But I mean, it's a good time. I just haven't, I get that's really what the big allure and everything is with the game is those big battles. And I've enjoyed what I fought so far. I just haven't seen a lot of variety at this point yet. And I've only come across, I don't know, something was going on where a couple of them were fighting each other and there were some trolls and shit involved. And I let them kind of go at it for a while. And then I just kind of swooped in and wiped everybody out. I mean, they're just great moments like that everywhere in this, it seems like.
Yeah. Any moments that stick out for you, Sasan?
I was doing that one quest where you have to like deliver a message and just basically teaching how to use the ox cart or whatever. So I was out in get his letter to what's the main town, Melv or something. I had to go back to Melv, I guess, with an ox cart to deliver a message. Well, it was the daytime. I got to this village and I got this message and they said, well, there's the ox cart guy and I want to ride. He wouldn't do it. I'm like, okay, it's not late. Daytime, you're obviously not busy, you're not doing anything. So I'm getting really bad. So I'm going to walk around like in another game, come back and see if he'll change his mind. I was like, okay, motherfucker. Okay, whatever, fine. And I was really getting mad because like it's going to get dark soon, and I really got to finish this mission, and I don't want to just be out here. So what I did, I just picked him up and I threw him into the ocean. I was mad.
You can do that. Yes, you can.
But then it's like, okay, I was like, is it done? No, then he came back. So guess what? I did 3 more times. But then he didn't come back. I'm like, wait a minute. What makes the game cool is that what if I just totally messed up the ox cart forever? Because that's the guy, and he's dead. Because I threw him off the cliff 4 times.
So now maybe he just won't show up in any town?
He just might be dead. But it was so cool they could do that. It's like, well, it's not like it's like a GTA, like, oh, then the cops are coming and it gets escalates. Yeah. No, it's like he's just gone. He's dead. And that's it. So
that's funny.
If people did see it, they're probably scared because I have a big sword and I got a tiger man with me, whatever. I just threw him off the cliff and then I just have to walk the rest of the way.
That's great. I mean, that gives me like Mario 64 flashbacks ever since you could throw the penguin off the cliff. Yeah. I mean, that's that's classic.
That's hilarious. Mine, nothing like major. Mine would be what I spoke on earlier, where it was the first experience that I was going on a long journey, and by the time it got to nighttime, I was like, okay, I need to camp because my health's getting low. And then skeletons appeared, and then, wolves were all around me. Like, I was getting surrounded, and I was literally, like, freaking out. Like, dude, I can't, even if I'm getting healed, I'm basically a one-shot every time. So I had to play, like, real passive. Now, luckily, I had my mage who kept healing me, which I do like that I can just call her over. Hey, help me out. I'm a loser right now. Help me out. Help me out. And she just goes, okay. So she kept helping me out. And then Siri and my wizard were just wrecking everybody. And so I basically just watched them. I would fight some goblins and stuff here
Yep.
and there, but I just watched them wreck everybody while the mage just kept healing me, and then they would fight a little bit. But that was the most tense experience. I'm like you guys, I've yet to really hit any hard enemies. I have a lot of time that I played in the original Dragon's Dogma. I know they're coming, and I know they're going to get really intense because some of the what's really cool about the game is they'll start throwing a lot of beasts at you, and it almost requires that you climb up them. So it's always like this crazy chaotic what is that game, the PlayStation game?
Oh, Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah, it's like that, but with
Yep.
actual good combat, not trash like that game.
Right. Well, I've kind
so-
of done that, like when you climb up on them and everything, like even the Cyclops and stuff like that, you can like lean your character, and
Yeah.
like if you catch them like when they're walking or get struck, you can throw them off balance,
That's so
and then
cool.
eventually get them knocked down, and then your whole party's just on top
Yeah,
of
when
them.
they're
Like
just
that's
laying there.
Nothing
Yeah.
like it.
yeah.
And you
I think
see
that's
like
cool.
their health draining fast whenever you like stun them like that. So
Yep.
it's so freaking
So yeah,
cool.
you can get them off balance, and you can do that. Like I've done it like with the warrior and everything, like slashing at their ankles, and they like stumble a little bit, and you slash the other ankle, and they'll fall over. Like it's a great concept. And then, like you said, then you actually start doing some damage to them.
Yeah. And like we've already stated before, for anybody who's never played these games, once you start fighting these big beasts, they're not like, oh, 1 health bar. It's always 3 to 4 health bars. And at first, when you're fighting them, when they're like full strength, they don't take a lot of damage. It's when you start wearing them down and things like that, you'll start to see bigger chunks come off. But
Okay.
in the beginning, it seems tedious, but
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like a lot of games nowadays, even like Rise of the Ronin. Some of the fights you'll be like, man, I'm not doing much damage. But once you stun them and you get in a rhythm, you start taking big chunks where you can end up, for some enemies, you just one shot them, where they're like deflecting, 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 and then you one shot them. So you're wearing them down. You're wearing their stamina down. It's the same thing. This game, if I had to describe it to anybody besides the Lord of the Rings thing, I would say it's an intelligent game. It's an extremely intelligent game. Um, whether it's the pawn system, the world, the enemies, everything is extremely intelligent. It feels organic and alive. It doesn't feel like must have character experience this, so they must go here. It's like
Yeah.
this is your playground. Go wherever you want. We do have a story. We'll tell it to you. That's not why you're here. Just go wherever you want, and we're just gonna randomly throw stuff at you, and then we're gonna see if you can deal with it. And that's your experience. And that's what I like about it, is that, like Dan was saying earlier, I will log in because I'm like, oh, I kind of want to play Dragon's Dogma, uh, because I haven't played it. That's really why I played it. I didn't just play it just so I could talk about it on the show. I was just like, I haven't really played it. I should play it. And when I sat down and started playing it and really getting into it, I was having 4 hour sessions. Now you can go, well, you only played 8 hours. Exactly. So I played 2 sessions where I just played like 4 hours each time, because once I got into the game, I was like, I don't want to play anything else. And the only reason why my hours aren't higher is I actually actively made a choice and went, okay, I really want to play Dragon's Dogma, but dude, I don't want to get distracted from Rise. I want to stay in that rhythm with Rise, because
Mm-hmm.
once you get really good at Rise's combat, it's not a game that, unless you put it on easy, that you can walk away from, learn a different game, get really good at it, and then come back a month later and be like, okay, I'm going to play Rise and finish it off. You're going to
Right.
be overwhelmed with the systems because there's a lot going on. So my point is that once you start playing this game, it's one of those that's just really hard to put down, because you're not staring at the clock going, well, when's this mission done so I can move on, or beat this game. It's not about beating the game, it's just about experiencing it. So any other final thoughts on Dragon's Dogma, or even Rise of the Ronin, before we move to the last part of the show?
No, man, there's two great games that I think, like, anyone can find something they like in both of those games, even though that typically like your type of game, whether like I like Skyrim, but I like an easy open world game in a fantasy setting, but I'm sure you can find something you'd like in Dragon's Dogma. And like, I like Souls games, but I don't know about these weird Team Ninja games. You can find something in Rise of the Ronin. I just think they offer.
They're very balanced.
Yeah.
They're very balanced. So like you were saying, I would agree with you. Even if you look at it and go, it's not my type of game, or it's going to be too hard, they're really not too hard. I know you were I think you said in one of the things, you're like, Jeff, this isn't a game for you, like Rise of the Ronin. And I understand why you said that. The only reason I would disagree is I would just tell Jeff, put it on easy.
Yeah.
And learn some of the basic stuff. Enjoy the open world, unlock some stuff, and see if you get hooked. If you don't, move on. But for me, and I know I'm biased, these type of games they're my babies. Like, they're what I look forward to. They're my favorite games of all time. Any type of Souls game, Elden Ring is one of my favorite games because it was open world, go anywhere. That's the feeling I get with Dragon's Dogma, and that's the feeling I get with Rise of the Ronin. They're challenging games that are very open and just fun, and it's not about the story. It's about combat. And in my early gaming years, I was all about the story and making choices and the plot twist and all that stuff. And I still like plot twists and stuff like that. But I've gotten away from story where I'm like, I don't want to hear you talk, dude. Just shut up. I just want to kill things. And so these are games that are right up my alley.
Well, you have to admit, this story is the best one yet from Team Ninja. You have to.
Oh, it is. It is.
By far
I actually really like the characters,
Yeah,
and I want to
they're
sleep
very
with all
good.
the girls. They're all hot. I really need to move to Japan, dude.
I
I need to
guess.
move. I do. I do. I don't like Americans, and they're getting
Hey,
hotter.
no better time than now.
I would agree. All right, so let's move on to the last thing. We won't talk about it a lot. I just wanted to kind of get you guys' opinions. I've been doing this is only the third show, but I've done it on all three shows. Let's just talk Final Fantasy VII Rebirth real quick. Just tell me how far into it you are, and what are your thoughts. That's it.
Okay, I'm probably about 20 hours or so into it.
Yeah.
Chapter 4 right now. I like it. It's a lot like Final Fantasy VII Remake, obviously, with some really good improvements upon it. Combat's still fun. The open world's cool. I like going in and doing those things. I don't really know how it's all going to work right now. Like, I left the first area with like a bunch of stuff I didn't do, thinking I'd be able to come back, and I just keep getting pushed into the next chapter and can't go back to any of the spaces that I've been at yet. So I'm hoping that changes, because
It does. It does.
there's stuff I still want to clean up in that first area that I kind of regret I haven't done, because I've been like 10 plus hours in other areas now. It's wacky, it's goofy, it's Final Fantasy VII. I don't have like a huge nostalgia for the first one. I've played through probably like half the original game back in the day. Had friends that loved it, played it, and I mean I've always enjoyed it. Just yep, maybe not on the same level as some other people. But all that said, like it feels a little bit more like a Final Fantasy VII remake with a new story. I'm interested in it. I'm a little bit of a mixed bag with some of the stuff is all I'm gonna say. I'm still very much up on it. It looks good. It plays pretty good, on the PS5. I'm becoming more of a PC snob, so when I can't get 60 frames per second without the picture looking like a potato.
trash.
Yeah. I mean, it looks so bad in performance mode. It's just ridiculous. And I've gotten used to the 30 FPS, but all in all, it's a lot of fun. It's really good. There's a ton of content here. I mean, I'm like 20 hours in, and barely, not even a third of it in the story, maybe a fourth. But
What chapter are you in?
chapter 4, and I think there's 14.
There's 14, yeah. Okay.
Something like that. So wherever that puts me, but yeah, it's good. I dig it. Definitely having fun with it. Keeps distracting me and pulling me back to my PS5 right now. So
cool. Sasan, you, I know you're not as positive. How far did you get into this game, and what are your final thoughts with what you have played?
I got to the open world part, that the grass area. Is that
Grasslands?
Yep.
and then I climbed a ladder, and there was like a rock on it. Right? I turned the music off because that's terrible.
Come on, the music's not that bad. I like the music.
Dude, I mean, that's. I mean, I know it's great. I know people. That's people go to see concerts to see this shit live, but it really sounds like elevator music, and it does not match the setting of what you're doing. It does no. I don't feel like a time. Again, I'm not a Final Fantasy guy. And listen, I know these games are good.
You're the opposite of the Final Fantasy guy.
Everything the game is offering is everything I don't like in video games and life. Everything. I don't like the way the characters look. I don't like their hair.
You don't like the combat though?
The combat is great.
Okay.
It's very interesting and very different than any other game I've ever played. And that was very fun. But that's when I hear stuff like 30-minute boss battle, then 20-minute movie scene, then another one, it's like, I can't do that. Yeah. The story, I don't kind of care about. The relationships, I don't like.
Yeah.
It's good. I know it's good. I know it's great. But I'm just saying, for me, this is not why I play games. The combat's nice, and I really like the dynamic, switching off, and the moves are cool. It looks very nice. I couldn't do
the combat's.
Yeah, when you kind of figure that out and like some of those synergy abilities and stuff like that, there's a lot going on with the combat. You can't just button mash square and get through stuff.
You'll get wiped.
I really like, I mean, I've always liked Final Fantasy, like the different combat systems and stuff they do, and I like how they do it in Remake and Rebirth. I was a fan of how they did Final Fantasy 16. I mean, Final Fantasy 16 was like one of my favorite games last year. I just wish it was more like some of the traditional Final Fantasies where like, enemies were weak to fire or water. They're, but yeah, cool moves, but the combat is definitely probably the best part of this game for me so far.
It is
because this is not for me. I'm the wrong person to ask about this. I can just tell you I uninstalled it already. It came at a time when I had nothing to play on my PS5. I had what I call it Helldivers 2 and whatever Wars, whatever I'm doing. So as soon as like Ronin came out and Dragon's Dogma, I was like, okay, I found the games that
speak to you.
That speak to me as a gamer. I was like, this is actually gone, and I'm done with that forever. So
you're never coming back.
No, I can't.
I'll definitely see this one through, but it's going to take me a while. Just with everything else I'm trying to play, it's just
I'm struggling. Now, I'm not going to completely blame the game. I'm just going to give anybody who's been listening to my show a little update on where I'm at. I'm 50 hours in, and again, Rise of the Ronin took over my life. I made that decision. Rise is better than Final Fantasy, so I'm going to invest my time in that. That's just how I feel. And here's why I say I like it better than Final Fantasy. I think Final Fantasy VII Rebirth could have been my favorite game this year if it would have stuck to. I'm fine with the open world. I don't mind that. I like it actually. I don't mind the tedious missions or whatever. I think a lot of the combat ones are fun. My issue is all the goofy bullcrap mini games, and I don't mind if you have them. So let me say this: you can have them. Do not force feed them into chapters of the main story and say you must do this in order to move ahead in the game. That's annoying, and they do that in chapter 10. Oh, they do it in several chapters, but they do it really bad.
It in chapter 3 for sure.
It's not chapter 10. It's before that. It's like 8 or 9. They do like an entire area where you have to do several mini games. I'm like, I don't want to do these. These are so dumb. And then after that, I found out from Jesse White, who was on my previous show. He beat the game. He's like, yeah, when you get to chapter 12, I'm in chapter 11. It happens again. I'm like, when he told me that, I was like, I don't want to play. I don't want to play.
That's what the original was, though. I mean, I only played through about half of the original. Like, got through Golden Saucer, and I think I got an airship or something. It was as far as I got, but there was a ton of horrible mini games in the first one. So it's like, I don't know if they did it for nostalgia purposes or whatever, but the mini games are back, and surprise, they still suck. It's like playing it on a PS1 still.
Yeah, it's bad. Some of them were semi-fun, but a lot of them are like I would agree. Like
like that Moogle
if this was
roundup, like oh my
oh my
god,
gosh, oh my god, don't even get me started on that. So I can imagine how Sasan would react to that if
yeah,
you actually
exactly.
did the
Like
Moogle roundup.
some of the
What
mini
the
games,
hell?
like
Why am I
Google.
chasing around these little gay teddy bears? What are we doing here?
I saw that in Final Fantasy, or those little doll-looking things. Is
Yeah,
that the cactus?
Moogle,
That
Moogles.
what it? I don't know.
yeah,
That
you're better off, Sasan. You're okay, man.
yeah, maybe
Okay,
walk away from it for
I
good.
don't like anime. Okay, I like Japanese culture. I don't care about Japanese pop culture. I think there's a big
I get
difference.
it. Yeah, I
I
get
guess
that.
I'm old, and I appreciate like, the stuff that maybe the old people of Japan might appreciate about their country, whereas the young people like their weird anime and their whatever. I don't do any of that shit, and that's why Final Fantasy has no place in my on my palette. I just like more traditional
With
stuff.
that being said, I want listeners to know in like 3 or 4 years when Final Fantasy Revelation or Revolution or Revisited comes out, Sasan will be like, "Oh, I played the demo. It was pretty fun. I'm gonna buy it."
You
Yeah,
probably
that's
will.
gonna happen.
And then he's gonna have the same complaints.
Yeah, he's gonna be like, "It's
I'm
just
gonna
too. It's not for me. It's not for me."
Nope.
All right. Let's close down the show. I asked this last week on episode 2. Maybe I asked it on episode 1 as well. I'm gonna ask it again. Probably gonna ask it on most of my shows, since it's new people every time. What was your favorite game, or if you want to list a few games in 2023?
Go ahead, Sasan.
go ahead,
Whoever
Dan.
wants to go first.
Obviously, I mean, Spider-Man 2 was because been a Spider-Man fan since I was like 3 or 4 and hardcore comic where not that movie bullshit that you posers are fucking liking. How can anyone like Spider-Man if all they watch are the goddamn movies? How can they say, oh yeah, I love you
I
love
don't.
don't read the comics that you don't like Spider-Man. That's all there is to
Yeah.
it. Because there is no Spider-Man outside of the comics. It's just a guy wearing a Spider-Man suit, like me. When I take you see the pictures, Dan.
Oh yeah, I've seen plenty. Enough to
Seen too
last.
much.
Yeah,
Seen
Spider-Man
too
2,
much.
I roll along because
Yeah.
the combat was excellent. And I think that was the last year kind of sucked, right? Besides that, there's nothing else I really liked. Refresh my memory. Besides Wolong and Spider-Man, I don't
Give
give a
me
shit about.
2 seconds and I'll pull up like my top 10 list.
All right.
I
Well,
I keep
I'll,
it.
I'll let you do that. I got a couple off mine. So I mean, probably my favorite game in 2023
Oh,
was
fine.
Redfall. Redfall. I mean,
Yeah,
easily.
yeah.
I mean,
Oh yeah, well that
yeah.
I'm the only person in the world that beat it. It's an amazing
Yeah,
game.
you
Is
are.
it really? Okay. Well, I honestly didn't play it much. No. So I'm just joking around. So it's really tough for me last year. So I might need your top 10 list too. But was Jedi Fallen Order last year?
Survivor.
Or Jedi Survivor, sorry.
Yeah.
So Jedi Survivor, I waited until probably like the end of the year to actually go back and play it all the way through because Zelda distracted me. But Tears of the Kingdom, I got like 45 hours in like the first 2 weeks that game was out, and
Never played
I
it.
didn't get too far into it, and I just never went back. I love Zelda games. Zelda games are like
Yeah,
my
you are.
favorite things. I love Breath of the Wild. I put 100 hours in Breath of the Wild. I just haven't got back to Tears of the Kingdom yet. So I got like 45 hours in there. Still one of my favorite games from last year. Jedi Fallen Order was a victim to Tears of the Kingdom because that came out right before it. So I didn't get too far into it, and then ended up circling back late in the year. But Final Fantasy 16, I would say, is probably my favorite game from last year. Spider-Man 2 would be right behind it. Love the Spider-Man games. Insomniac just does incredible work there. Great stories. I thought it was like a good marriage of like the Spider-Man and Miles Morales. Like I don't know, they blended really good. Everything they did with that was great. But Final Fantasy 16 is probably my fave.
I'll give you all a quick like big hitters. I would say of course Forspoken and Redfall are probably top 2.
Well, that was
But
last.
Easily.
but last year the big hitters
Was
were
so
Dead
poking,
Space,
damn, bro.
Oh,
for
Dead Space is good.
Dead Space remake, Resident Evil 4 remake, Dead Island 2 was really good. Jedi Survivor we talked about. Hogwarts,
Oh,
um,
Hogwarts. That was number 2 for me. Yeah, sorry,
Final
Spider-Man.
Fantasy 16, Diablo 4, Baldur's Gate 3, which is my
shit.
game of the year.
That was the best game last year.
And honestly, it probably is the best game last year. I just haven't got too far into it yet. I didn't pick it up till like end of the year, and I'm not even.
Did you get it on PC?
Yeah, I bought it on Xbox and PC. So
okay.
Yeah.
I know Sasan didn't love this game, but I loved it. I beat it twice back to back. Lies of P is huge for me. Tears of the Kingdom. I really like Lords of the Fallen after they patched it.
Yeah, Lord of the Fallen is probably one of my favorite franchises ever. So I'm really surprised I didn't pick up that game, but definitely waiting for a more of a discount there.
Oh, it's coming. I've actually already seen it on sale a lot. Huh?
More.
It's a good game. It's actually a good game now, but
it is.
Like
I don't know. I just horrendously like the first one just got such a bad taste in my mouth. Like that. I don't hate a lot, but like that is something I passionately hated was the first Lords of the Fallen. I was very angry by it.
I remember because I was a noob Souls guy when I played that. I was like, "Oh, this was pretty good." You know, what sold me on it is they told me it's easier than Souls games. And it was in the beginning, and then I got to like the third boss, and I'm not lying. Again, I wasn't very good at the game, and I had a way worse temper than I do now. I'm actually a real chill guy, but I remember sitting in my house and fighting this third boss for like 3-4 hours and yelling, where I guarantee neighbors were like, somebody being
wondering
murdered?
What's wrong with you.
Yeah, I was like freaking out like a little beta like crybaby. I was really obnoxious.
Man, that's embarrassing.
But this one's way better.
Okay,
It's way
well,
better.
all right.
It was like Sasan and I were chatting a lot when it first came out, and we liked it both at first, and then I started complaining to him, and then he started complaining, and then he dropped off. I kept going, and then they patched it. And then I came back to him and I said, dude, the patch fix, well, they've patched it like a gazillion times, but all these patches have made it a better game, because what was making it really bad is the enemies just stay locked on you forever. If there's any enemies, in almost every group of enemies, there's somebody who shoots at you. They always hit you. They never miss.
Yeah, never miss.
They always hit you. So it was always overwhelming. You were always being chased by a mob of 30 guys that never stopped chasing you. You were always being shot at. So all you were doing, you weren't exploring the world. You were rolling and running through the world. That's all you were doing. It was so bad. And I beat the game like that. And then they patched it. And then I started New Game Plus and I started playing it. And I'm like, I can explore the world. Because you were shooting at me and I dodged and you missed.
Well,
holy crap.
Just think of me this Christmas when it goes on sale, okay?
It actually plays very well. Like the combat feels good. The weapons.
It feels really good.
It's really, and it's pretty. It's a good game. It's a good PC game for sure.
Okay. Well,
yeah, they fixed it on PC. And then the last few like big ones: Alan Wake 2, Starfield.
I really like
Cyberpunk, Phantom Liberty.
Yeah, so I just restarted Cyberpunk on my PC, and I had to start a completely new playthrough. I definitely want to get to Phantom Liberty, but I did the whole first game on my Series X, and I can't take my save over, I don't think. So I'm just started completely over on PC, and that's been distracting me lately too. And then Alan Wake, I got probably about 50-60% of the way through that game. Still want to go back and finish it. That game was wacky and fun, and oh my god, there was so many good games last year.
Yeah. So to answer your question, Sasan, last year was not weak. It was actually very strong.
It was good.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good games.
Spider-Man 2. Perfect. Yeah, those are great games. All of them.
Yep.
All right, so that's our show. First of all, thanks guys for coming on. It was fun to talk to these games. I knew the Rise of the Ronin conversation would be really good with Sasan, because him and I have similar tastes when it comes to this, but we're also still different. And then Dan, it's good to have you on. I had you on Current Gen a bunch of times, so I wanted to bring you back on. But thanks everybody for joining, and thanks for listening, and we'll see you for episode 4. I've got big plans for it. All right, good night.
Night.
Later.